Just to give a little bit of introduction, my name is Sam Shirkawi. I'm a technical solutions expert at Javelin Technologies. I deal with everything CAD. So if you're looking at SOLIDWORKS, if you're looking at other softwares there as well. And I also focus in on inspection. So whether that's GD&T, inspection, and looking at processes. So that's part of what I do at Javelin. And so let's take a look at what we're going to look at today. So SOLIDWORKS Inspection 2017, what is SOLIDWORKS Inspection? For those of you who know what it is and want to know more and are joining us, that's great, but we're going to start off from the beginning and we're going to talk about what SOLIDWORKS Inspection does and what it's going to be used for. Next, quickest ways to get things started, and that's taking a look at part of the inspection software and how do we get started with it right away, right out of the box. Working with non-SOLIDWORKS drawings, how do we deal with that in inspection and verifying our data? And then lastly, closing the loop and performing the actual inspection and getting all that data across the floor. So first, let's jump through and let's talk about what SOLIDWORKS Inspection is. So what is SOLIDWORKS Inspection? So SOLIDWORKS Inspection is a software that comes in two modes. So you get your add-in. Maybe I can show my webcam here. So you have your add-in. I'm just going to close that. And you have your standalone. And so part of your add-in, you get to use your SOLIDWORKS parts and drawings, and then from the add-in, when you're done with your modeling and when you're done with your drawings, we can go ahead and send that over to the add-in inside of SOLIDWORKS, so then you can do your ballooning and you can do your report creation right from within SOLIDWORKS. The standalone version also comes with inspection, and that can pull in PDFs and TIFFs, and from there we can also balloon and pull characteristics. So we're going to take a look at both versions in today's webinar, but the inspection software does come with both modes. So what does inspection do for us? I explained it, it does balloon our drawings, but it goes, a step further. When you do balloon your drawings, it's not just a balloon and that's it, it's done. It actually pulls all that characteristic information. So if I'm ballooning a dimension, for instance, like maybe a 3-inch dimension that's somewhere on my drawings, it'll pull that 3-inch dimension, and then it'll give you your upper limit and lower limit and give you all those different characteristics, which we'll go through with the software. Now, before I go any further, if you guys have any questions, you guys can go ahead and post it within the program. You guys can post questions, have a chat. If you guys have any sort of questions that you guys may want to ask during this presentation, or if you guys want to wait till the end, that's fine. So SOLIDWORKS Inspection, you create balloon drawings, and then we can export that as PDF. We also create Excel-based reports. That's your first article inspection reports. So, if we take a look at before inspection, maybe you guys are doing it manually. Maybe you guys are going ahead and doing ballooning your drawings manually with your hand. Or when we're talking about reports, maybe you guys are going ahead and writing it out manually, or you guys do have an Excel template, but again, that changes, and then you guys have to import that manually as well. So inspection takes care of that, and then we do, you can take a look that it says, up to 80% time savings. So there is quite a bit of time savings depending on how you're doing it now. But yeah, there are lots of time savings, and it's not just about time. It's about getting rid of the tedious tasks that you guys do day to day. So that's part of SOLIDWORKS Inspection. Now, before we go ahead and go through that, I just want to throw another poll out, and I want to see are you guys currently designing using SOLIDWORKS? So I'm going to go ahead and launch that now. So far everyone's using SOLIDWORks and people are using the software. Just so we know, we're going to go through the add-in and talk about, starting our inspection from the actual SOLIDWORks software. So that's awesome. We got the majority of votes, and 93%, do design using SOLIDWORks. So that's a big thing. So next, that's part of it. Let's take a look at SOLIDWORks and getting things started right away. So in SOLIDWORks Inspection 2017, 2017 comes with a lot of enhancements, and you do get enhancements year to year. So with the SOLIDWORks add-in, we get to lock our balloon numbers where, if you do get rid of another balloon, it doesn't update. We have our manual ballooning where we can go ahead and select characteristics, and we're going to take a look at both options. Templates hold file properties, and publishing drawing and report. So we'll take a look at all those right now. So if I just jump through to my SOLIDWORks, so I'm just going to go ahead and make that a bit bigger. So let's say you finish designing your part, and now this is going to be sent out for manufacturing, and so you need to create an inspection. Now before you go from part to your inspection, you want to create a drawing. So you get a drawing, you create it, you put your dimensions and everything that you need onto this drawing, and then from here, what we want to do is we're going to start off with our SOLIDWORks inspection add-in. So this is what I mean when I talk about the add-in. So we're going to go ahead and start a new inspection project. And here, this is where your templates and your project settings are saved. And so I'm just going to start off with a default so I could show you where I can import these settings. And so these are the properties that we can insert. So I can go ahead and type in my part numbers, I can type in my part name, but I can also just grab them from my custom properties. So for this one, for my part number, I can go ahead and get my part number, I can get my part name, right? And I can go ahead and import all these properties right from my custom properties that I created for my part. And this is where my characteristic infos come in. So I'm going to start off with number 1. So my balloons start with number 1, clockwise, incidental. So I can go ahead and choose if they're critical, major, minor. So I can go ahead and have that option there. And extraction is going to be automatic. So for this one, we're going to do an automatic extraction of our balloons. And we're going to create one for each instance. And we're going to auto balloon. And then there's an option for prevent automatic renumbering, and that's our locking balloons option. So for this one, I'm going to keep that there, and we'll see how that looks. And we're going to go next, and this is the type of dimensions that we're going to use. So inspection only. We can use basic reference. So if I have reference dimensions, it's only going to pull those. It's only going to pull those dimensions. So I'm going to go ahead and just choose our basic, and maybe our references there as well. And I'm going to go next. And this is where you can choose, if you have default precision values, we can go ahead and import those there. And I'm going to go ahead and press OK. And now it's going to populate my drawings with these balloons. So now I populated my drawings with these balloons. And if I select on one, it actually gives me all these characteristic infos. And so that's what I mean when I say it's not just a balloon, it's not just a shape that we're inserting, it's actually giving us our characteristic number, our quantity, if there's any quantities attached to that, upper limit, lower limit tolerances, and we can also give it operation. So if this is, part of cutting, we can say that this is part of cutting. And again, these can all be, towards what your business does. And so everything gets populated automatically, and so this is how we balloon our drawings. And even if we go through one, and we deselect it, and then it updates the whole drawings, it's not going to renumber because we had that option checked right in the beginning, right? So this is one of the options that we can do in the add-in. And then when we're done with our drawings and we're done with our inspection, we have a couple options at the top. So we can start another new inspection project. We can edit the inspection project. We can create a new template, like the one we just talked about. Add balloons, and there's options on the right-hand side here. So exporting it to PDF, we'll take this drawing and send it out to our PDF. We can export to Excel, our report. So let's take a look at how that actually looks. So let's say I have a AS9102 defaults, and I'm going to send that out. And so it automatically sends all that information ready for inspection. So then, you give this paper to your quality department, and that can actually, they can just use this template and insert all those result information. Instead of having you to do a manual one every time, this is going to save you time, and so we can create that automatically. And then there's an option to export to SOLIDWORKS Inspection project, and so that's the next step that we're going to take a look at, starting another project from the actual standalone inside the software. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start another inspection, and I want to remove this one. And so we're going to start another default one, and so I'm not going to update any information. And for this one, I'm going to do a manual extraction. So if I go next, it should gray out everything because I'm going to do it manually now. You go ahead and press next, and I'm going to press OK. So now what I'm going to use, I'm going to add my characteristic. And so I just select on the ones that I want. So if you guys have if you know exactly what you need, you guys have specific needs. So I can go ahead and just select on the ones that I want. And now I have all my characteristics done. So I can deselect that. Select on that one, and I can still get my characteristics information. So that's all part of the add-in inside SOLIDWORKS. So you guys can see that, inside of the add-in, it is very streamlined. So you guys can go from part to drawing to the actual inspection part very quickly. You do have a lot of control over that, and you do get a lot of information. So when you guys go from your drawings to your inspection report, you guys can go ahead and insert those custom properties within seconds, and then you can do an automatic extraction, which will update them automatically, or you can have more control and do it manually. So it really depends on your needs and your requirements. And in the end, when you're done, we publish the drawing to PDF, send that to the shop floor so they know exactly what to measure and what to look for when they're doing their quality of the parts, and then they have the report to go ahead and analyze that information. So that's all part of the add-in approach. And I do get asked a lot, is the add-in only in the standard, or does the standard version of inspection come with the standalone option as well? And the answer is yes. And I'm just going to clarify this right now. So with your inspection standard, you do get your add-in and your standalone part. And part of the things that get added onto the inspection professional is the fact that we can import CMM data. And so in 2017, with the enhancements that we've seen with 2016 and previous, 2017 inside the standalone version, we get better mouse control. So now we can zoom in, zoom out, scroll around. It gives us more control over our drawings, and it makes it easier to navigate. We have OCR. So how the standalone version works is that it comes with optical character recognition. That means when we're working with PDFs, we go ahead and choose which dimensions we want, and we go ahead and use our cursor and select on the boxes. So, and then managing revisions. So if I go back and let's take a look at our inspection. So I'm going to go ahead and open up SOLIDWORKS Inspection 2017. And so from here, I can start a new project, or I can open up a current project. So if I start off a new project, I can go ahead and choose, inches, metric, or those templates that we've created, and I can go ahead and press OK for default, and then I can go ahead and choose a document. So it's asking me for PDF, so I'm going to go ahead and open up a standalone, and let's say we're going to start off with just this drawing here. So this is the drawing that we're working with. I'm going to go ahead and close that up. And so we have our part name, so we can capture project properties. And so this is the OCR that we're talking about. So if I select on this here, I go ahead and choose what I want to get. So if the part name is part lower, I go ahead and select that, and it gives me my part lower inside of there. So it's actually reading off of the text. So it's recognizing these characters. And so I can go ahead and grab more and more. So I can grab this, and maybe part revision as well. So this is how we use non-SOLIDWORKS data, so we can go ahead and do that. And so when we're done with that, we press OK, and now we can go ahead and capture different characteristics. So I go to my drawings, I can grab dimensions, right? So it recognizes the 0.325, and you guys can take a look at, there's a tolerance, there's a minus tolerance, and it automatically recognizes the upper and lower limit. So I can go ahead and grab more and more. So for example, if I grab this one here, it gives me my quantity as well. So it recognizes characters really, really well. And so I can do geometric tolerance as well. So I can just select that. You can say, you know, C print for geometric tolerance, or I can go ahead and insert my geometric tolerance on the left-hand side here. So that's all part of, you know, pulling these characters. And you can see what we can pull. So we can pull dimensions, geometric tolerance, notes, surface finish, welds, and other. So for example, if there's a note that I want to grab, I can go ahead and do that as well. So we can grab a lot of things there, and all our characters get set on the bottom here. So what we can do, for example, when we're ready, is if I go back to my drawings and I go back to home, I can send this out as a PDF. So that's part of, you know, getting it out to the floor. And same thing like we've shown in the add-in, we can send it out to Excel. And another option for the standalone is sending it out at the same time. So we can do PDF and Excel at the exact same time. Another option that I want to take a look at is comparing drawings. So if you have two different revisions, we can compare those two. So if I have a D2 there, it places the drawings on top of each other, and we can actually see what's different and what's the same. So you can see, you know, that's different. And then if I want to go ahead and replace everything there, I can go ahead and press replace, and it replaces my drawings with everything that's new. So I get my new revision, so I get my 1404, my other angle degree, and that's all placed within the standalone. Where if you measure a part and you press on the data, so what happens was if you have a measurement and you want to send that off to the inspection project, is you just select on the area or on the actual the characteristics that we're doing, and then you press on the data, and that information gets sent to your inspection project. So then here, if this is 0.135, that gets sent to there, and you can see whether it fails or whether it passes. So lastly, closing the loop and performing the inspection. So let's take a look at how we can import CMM data. And again, you know, the digital caliper and the CMM data import, that's part of Inspection Professional. So if I go to my options, just to show you guys where that's located, we can measurement import and CMM data import right there. And so if I go ahead and exit, or I start a new project, or actually let me open up a project. And so this is what we're going to be working with. And so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. I'm just going to open up another project here. And so you can see everything's been ballooned. And so I have a CMM machine that I'm working with. So I'm going to go to CMM import, and we can add files. So before I go in and add files, let's go to our settings. So this is our template control. So this is where all the information is being pulled from. So as you can see, it has an extensive list of CMM machines that we work with. And so we can also edit our templates from here. So if you guys have, it's pulling out different information, we can go ahead and edit those templates. And so these are the different templates we can work with. So if I go in, we can add our files, CMM results, and for this one, this is a text file. And so we have all of our CMM data right here. We can auto-assign it. So you can see we have best, exact. So if I go to best and press OK, and I'm going to overwrite the information, you guys can see that it automatically shows me what's passing, what's failing, and it places those characteristics on top of each other. So we can see, and it's an automatic thing, so it's actually matching those two. So it's quite useful when you're using CMM machines with inspection. And so what I can do from here is I can go ahead and export that. So if I do an Excel machine here, and so let me show you what it looks like when we export this information. So this is my template that I use, and so you can see I can see exactly what failed, what passed, and the machine that I used. So this is quite useful, and it's very automated. So we can enter measured values. We can import CMM information, such as I showed you there, and you have a lot of control over what gets placed. You guys can do an exact. You guys can do a best place. So if it's not exact, it's not going to place it, or you guys can do best fit. So that's the general overview of inspection and how we can go from starting off with our models, going through our drawings, and then if you guys want to go ahead and use the add-in inside SOLIDWORKS, you guys can do that, or you guys can export that to the SOLIDWORKS inspection project, and that's all streamlined. So you guys can go ahead and do that right away, and everything can get placed in no time at all, and everything can be done rather than doing everything manually. Inspection can be a great help in that area.